Hi, my loves. How are you doing today? I hope you're well. I'm gonna apologize. Y'all know this by now. My apartment is filled with ambient sounds. So I hope you have your tea. I actually have a whole pot of green tea here with me that I just made up because your girl is real tired and has a lot of chores and things to do today. So, because fun fact, my apartment is an absolute mess. So, it's not that bad, but I need to clean, need to vacuum, mop, all that good stuff. So, yeah, let's get into it. Cool. So first, from my darling Brianna, hello, my love. I hope you're well. Oh, and she says, hope you're well, sweetheart. I am. Thank you. Connor and I had a date night last night, and it was very nice. We watched, he made eggplant pasta, and we watched the movie Patterson, which is so good, by the way, if you haven't seen it. How's the veganism thing going? Any tips? How did you and Connor meet? P.S. Y'all's little board game date was goals. Where are you on adopting a kitty? So, first things first, the veganism thing is going super well, actually. It's been a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. In the last week, it's been tough because, I just really want chocolate. I want like milk chocolate. And I've also just been craving dairy because I've been watching those like home cafe Instagram videos where people, you know, pour like a really delicious thick looking cream and then top it with like a beautiful pink sweet something. I don't know. You know those like super aesthetic videos? I've been watching a lot of those, so I've been craving dairy. But it's been going super well. It's been, like I said, it's been a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. It's, you know, forcing me to eat more veggies and stuff. I have like a weird relationship with food. And so I'm trying to, you know, get myself into the habit of cooking every day and like actually making food for myself instead of skating by on just drinking tea. So, we're trying to do that. Is this a bit overexposed? Hang on, let's see. This is real-time editing, folks. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. But yeah, so it's been going really well. And I'm still looking for the perfect, like, milk to put in my breakfast tea. Because I'm gonna try, soy milk is the one I haven't tried, because ideally I wanted it to be a milk that I can make myself. But I'm gonna probably give soy milk a go, see how that goes, because a lot of people say that that's a good alternative too, because I don't like almond milk. And then a lot of people have said coconut milk, but that's a bit too thick, because I don't want something that's thick like a creamer. I want it where it's creamy like milk, but it's not super creamy like a creamer, because I don't put creamer in my breakfast tea. I put creamer in my Earl Grey, but I don't put it in my breakfast tea. So, still on the hunt for that, but it's been a month now, and it'll be a month in like 4 days, but it's been going well. As far as tips go, I would say just meal prep would probably be my biggest thing. If you watch Pickup Lines, her videos are so helpful. She even has like a veganism for beginners video, which is super helpful, and she has like a meal prep advice video where, as opposed to meal prepping like full meals, you just prep the components, which I think is what I'm probably going to spend today doing, is that because, you know, I may not know what I want to cook, but if my carrots and my celery and my carrots, my cauliflower, my broccoli, whatever other veggies I have, if they're pre-prepped, then, like, if they're pre-chopped, that takes out half the work for me. And usually that's the barrier that makes me, like, not want to cook, because I'm like, oh, it's going to take me 30 minutes to just prepare this, it's going to take me another half hour to cook it, and it's already 7, so then by the time I eat, it'll be like 8:30, and that's, like, way too late to eat dinner. So, that whole thing. I would highly recommend her videos. Also, Jess Beautician on YouTube does a lot of great, like, what I eat in a day vegan videos. And she just shows you how creative you can get with very simple ingredients. I also, of course, you know, Minimalist Baker. I've been all over that blog. Also, a lot of stuff can just really easily be made vegan. Like, you just sub, like, flax eggs for eggs if you're baking, and, you know, vegan butter instead of regular butter. So, it's just a matter of, yeah, research and taking the time to prep. Now, for how did you and Connor meet? Well, that's a fun story. So, we met last October through a mutual friend that both of us have had a crush on in the past, which is very funny. So my friend Max came into town, and he was like, he was staying with me, and I was, you know, I was still fairly new to Seattle, and so he was like, hey, a lot of my Sarah Lawrence friends actually live here. I would love for you to introduce you to them so that way you can have like people to hang out with. And I was like, yo, okay. And so he invited those friends over. The first friend that came over was Connor, and he complimented me on my bookshelf, which Max later told me was a really big deal because Connor's a writer, and like, you know, the fact that he, you know, liked what I had in my bookshelf was like kind of a big deal. And I was like, yo. So, and Connor and I were just kind of, I thought he was super interesting, and I thought he was really cool. And so we just kind of clicked, and I immediately thought, I was like, I want to be friends with this person. I want to get to know this person more. And so little did I know, that he basically had feelings for me from like the get-go, or started like, you know, developing them or whatever. But I didn't know that because I'm oblivious. But so then over the next several months, we just like kept hanging out and like kept developing our friendship. It just got super, super, super close. And we always talked a lot about how like we felt like we had known each other in a past life because we got on so quickly and so easily. So, yeah. And then like we were basically seeing each other every single day. And then like at one point in February, he was like, hey, or I think it was January or something. He was like, hey, so the last couple times that we've hung out, it's felt a little datey. Have you been feeling that too? And I was like, I have, but that's not something I'm interested in right now. I was like, I hope that's okay. And he was like, yeah, of course. And then a couple months later, in March, we had hung out every single day for like 3 weeks. And he told me, and he was like, hey, I need you to know that I have romantic feelings towards you, and it's getting to a point now where it's basically impossible to ignore. I know that you hate confrontation like this, but I just want to make you aware of it. And I said, like, I don't reciprocate those feelings because I'm a dumbass. And I was like, I don't reciprocate those feelings, but like, you're super important to me and I care about you a lot. So can we keep going on as we are? And he was like, yeah, of course. And then of course, after that, suddenly I couldn't stop thinking about him all the time. And I was like texting my friends, and I was like, what? I was like, what does it mean when you can't stop thinking about someone and you want to get their opinion on everything and like all this stuff? And I was just so... Basically, we were dating without dating. We were dating, but like I wasn't aware that we were dating because I'm a dumbass. I'm just a fool. I'm just a fool. So, but yeah, so we were basically dating without dating. And then he was over one day, and we were lying on my bed listening to Frank Ocean. And we were like kind of cuddling, but not really. That we definitely kind of were. Looking back on it, I'm realizing that I was so so oblivious when it comes to like romance type stuff. We were lying on my bed listening to Frank Ocean, And we had gotten into this habit of like, he would always play with my hands. Like if we were sitting across from each other, I would like put my hands out and he would just like play with my hands. That's not a platonic thing that people do. We're lying on my bed and he's playing with one of my hands, and I told him, and I was like, I like how you learn to read palms in order to pick up girls. Because he told me that at like several weeks before that, and I just thought that was such like a fun thing. And then he said, "Is it working?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he just kissed me, and it was and I was like, but it was also like, oh, of course. And so, yeah, that was on March 19th, and so been going for about 3.5 months now, and it's great. And that may have been way more information than you wanted, but I figured I'd give you the whole thing. So yeah, so we both met through my friend Max, who I later learned that we both had a crush on, which is crazy to me. But yeah, I love Connor. He's great. He's so smart and so supportive. Okay, I'm not gonna go on a tangent about him. Yeah, that board game date was so fun. And then when met his mom recently, when she came up to visit, we played Bananagrams, and he frankly destroyed me. Even though he did spell quarry with 1 R, and it definitely has 2, but that's fine. Ugh. Oh my god, this tea is so good. This is this like fancy like elderflower green tea that my dad got me from London several years ago. And I'm still making my way through the tin just because like, this is such a good tea. I'm gonna have to reorder it from the website of this like fancy English tea place because it's incredible. So good. And then last question from Brie is, where are you on adopting a kitty? I'm so close to getting one. Like, it's just a matter, right now it's just a matter of like having the spare cash to get myself a litter box and like food bowls and everything like that. Well, I wouldn't need to get food bowls because I can just use bowls that I already have, but like getting a litter box, mainly it's the litter box and food. It's kind of like the main things, because ideally the cat that I'm planning on adopting is probably going to be one of those that has like the adoption fee waived, because I'm planning on getting like an older cat, probably a black cat, because black cats have the hardest time getting adopted. So also I realize that the lighting in this video is very dim, but that's just because it's a very gray, dim Seattle day. So extra cozy, I suppose. Yeah, it's high 66 today. If this is what, I love this, if this is what summer is, though next week we do get up to like 78, but I'm very close to adopting a cat. I'm just waiting for the right moment, you know what I mean? So, because honestly, what I want before I get a cat is a Switch, because I just want to play Zelda Breath of the Wild like so bad. So, that's gonna be like the first thing that I spend my cash money on. So honestly, probably gonna be doing more of those like landscape paintings this week, because now that I'm a bit better at them too, honestly, it's a very good, quick, 1, so fun for me to make, 2, great sort of like quick way for me to make a bunch of revenue. Like because of those paintings, I was able to like safely make rent this month, which is great and good to know. So I will probably make more of those this week, because they're also just so fun, and they are really great like practices for me. But that's where I am on getting a cat. I digress. Okay, cool. I love you, Brie. And now we have Brianna Johnson. Hi, darling. Are you still going to Sweden this summer? If so, what are you most looking forward to about it? Unfortunately, I am not going to Sweden anymore this summer. Because so my sister is pregnant with my nephew, my first nephew. His name is going to be Landon. And she's been having like nothing like terrible, but there's been just like a couple sort of complications with the pregnancy. And so initially there was a time when like we didn't know when they were going to have to like induce her into labor, and so we thought that was going to be at the end of July. And so I was gonna fly there on the 10th and then have to fly back on the 15th just to like be home and ready for whenever the baby was going to come. And so my parents were like, there's no point. And so canceled my trip. My mom is still over there right now, but and then now we found out like a couple weeks later that my sister is going to be induced on the 13th of August. And everything is like everything's fine. Everything's fine. She's like made the necessary changes that the doctor has asked. So the baby's okay. Everything's good. She just has to be she just has to be a little careful about stuff. So, but we are, yes. So I was really looking forward to seeing my aunt and uncle and like some of my cousins and stuff, because mainly the reason I love going to Sweden is seeing my family, and also just the weather is so beautiful, and I was looking forward to seeing our new house for the first time, but I'll just have to wait till next summer. So, but it's also a bit of a blessing in disguise because it means that I'm able to work more this summer and just like, you know, save up more cash and do all that stuff and just like focus on my Etsy shop and focus on illustration and things. So I'm bummed I'm not going, but I'm also glad because it means that I'll be able to make more money and I'll be able to like save up more. So it's very good, you know, bit bittersweet, or that's the silver lining of it. So I'm bummed I'm not going, but I'll be there soon enough. It's all good. And also because of that, that means that me and Connor get to go, we're going to go to Vancouver for later this month. It's going to be his first time out of the country, and it's going to be my first time in Canada. So frankly, I'm stoked. Oh, this video is so dark. Do I need to brighten it up again? Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Again, real-time editing. Cool. But yeah, thank you, Brianna. Brianna, you gotta let me know, because I can't, if I'm mispronouncing your name, you can't let me continue on. I'm gonna say Brianna. So thank you, Brianna. I love you. Minal Siddiqui, hello, love. Asks, my parents want me to go down one path, be a doctor, go to a school near home, but it's my dream to go to school in Cali and become a writer. I don't want to disappoint them because they mean the world to me, but I don't want to do something I'm not passionate about. I'm going into junior year in the fall, and I feel like I'm going to have to start making some decisions. I know this is kind of heavy, but what advice would you give me? Woof. Oh, my love. Hi. It's tough. I was so lucky in that, like, my parents have been so supportive of all the weird artistic stuff that I've wanted to do my whole life. Like, I got to go to, you know, a performing arts magnet school, which was incredible. And like, then I was able to major in theater in college with like no resistance and stuff. And I was so lucky. I think that you can't live your life based on what your parents want, because I can't tell you how many people that I've met where I ask them what they're majoring in or like in college and stuff, and they'd be like, oh yeah, well I'm doing this thing because like it's the safe route, or I'm doing this thing because like my parents wanted me to, but like, you know, they really want to be studying art history or philosophy or you know, one of the humanities. And it's so hard because, like, of course you don't want to disappoint your parents because of course you love them to bits and pieces, but I think that, I guess, communication is the biggest thing. That's going to be a very hard conversation to have, but since you are going into junior year, you know, and you're going to have to start applying this fall, I think that you need to talk to them about it, and you need to tell them and be like, I'm so thankful for all the support and everything you guys have given me, and I understand that this is like, you know, like a risky thing, because when you do major in the humanities, like Though honestly, nowadays when you go to college, like, no matter what degree you get, like, there's always, just with the way the job market is now and stuff, there's always just, like, you know, that fear that stuff isn't going to come to fruition. But, like, I think that pursuing a degree that, sorry, that was a bit bleak. Ignore that. But, I think the main thing is that, like, you gotta follow your heart, my love. As cheesy as that is, but, like, heaven forbid you go to a school near you and you're just, like, absolutely miserable studying biochem in order to become a doctor. Like, I cannot imagine. Like, if you're an artistically minded person, it's not worth it. Like, it's not worth placating your parents and sacrificing your own happiness for, you know, especially if they want you to become a doctor, you know, you'll be in school for like 12 years. Sacrificing your own happiness for that long in order to, like, not, you know, cause any tension between you and your parents. I personally don't think that's worth it. I think that you need to have a conversation with your parents. I know that it's going to be super, super hard. And I don't really know where that conversation might go. But I think that the best thing you can do is just be honest and straightforward with them and tell them, like, what it is you want to do. And, like, also the great thing about the internet now is that there are so many ways to forge your own career path. And so, like, you know, once you start going to school, you can, because I'm thinking about, like, Connor, my boyfriend, is a writer, and he has a blog that he updates, like, several times a week, which is sort of like an ongoing portfolio. So if anyone ever asks for examples of his work, he can show them that. He does NaNoWriMo every year, so he's written 3 novels now, and he's going to be working on a 4th this year. And he's also, he's actually working on 2 different books this year. But while he does that, you know, he has, like, a retail job, like a really cool retail job that pays the bills. But he's still able to, you know, make his art and do that stuff in the meantime. So, like, I know that a lot of the reason why parents are nervous about their children majoring in something like writing or theater or philosophy or anything is that, like, the job security is basically at 0. I mean, I even know several times my parents were like, are you sure you don't want to major in something that, like, is a little bit more secure for the future? And I was like, nah, I'm good, fam. So, there are always ways to sustain yourself so that you can make your art until your art is what's able to sustain you. And, like, if you love writing, then that's going to be totally okay for you. And that may not be something that your parents understand. Your parents may not understand that, like, you're okay with, like, you're somewhat okay with a lack of security in your future. And, but it's your life. It's your life. It's not theirs. So I think that first and foremost, you need to talk to them and, like, thank them for their support and let them know how much they mean to you and how important they are to you. And also let them know that, like, this is something that you really, really want to do. And, they may not understand at first, and, like, there's a possibility that, you know, it might cause some tension, it might, like, put some distance between you and everything, and I'm not going to say that's not going to be difficult, but I think that it's going to be worth it, because your happiness is paramount in your own life. So, I hope that helped somewhat. I hope that was, like, a little bit constructive. You deserve to be happy, and you deserve to do the things that you want to do. So I think that especially since now you're just going into your junior year, this is definitely the time to start sort of like depositing those ideas into their heads. So also might be a good time for you to start up a blog, just for you to, you know, work those writing muscles like every week. But yeah, so I'm thinking about you. I wish you the best of luck. I know it's going to be a tricky conversation, but I believe that you can handle it. So I love you. I hope that was helpful. Write to me and let me know, okay? Yeah, so be honest, follow your heart, trust in yourself. Cool. Best of luck, Manal. Manal, please tell me I'm saying that right. Best of luck to you, my darling. And then, last but most certainly not least, we have my dear, dear Michelle. Hello, my love. Michelle asks, hello, I hope you're enjoying summer in Seattle. I am. It's so pleasant. I was curious about what inspired you to pick up embroidery and if there are any other art forms you're keen to try. Also, another related kind of weighty question, how do you give yourself that push to make a bold move or go after something creative / professional / personal you want? Oh man, good questions. So for the embroidery thing, what inspired me to pick up embroidery was this girl Ghost Puff on Instagram. Mona is her like real human name, and she is an illustrator that I found a couple months ago. We're friends now too, which makes me so happy, but she is incredible. She's incredible. And she does like, I just love her style of work. It's so whimsical and expressive and beautiful and just like magical. And I love the colors that she uses, but she has been embroidering these little like woodland creatures. And I was like, yo, I want to do that. And so, finally, just after like watching her stories for weeks, I was like, I'm doing it. So I realized that I had a bunch of old embroidery thread under my bed. And so I bought a bunch of like little plastic bobbins to wind those around to organize them. And then I picked up like I picked up some needles, picked up some scissors, picked up a box to store them in, picked up a couple new threads, and yeah, so I just got on it. I'm keen to, and it's been so fun. It's definitely like, just because I think that all the other art that I do, I'm used to, you know, being able to crank it out in like an hour. So the fact that like it takes me several hours to finish one piece, it's very meditative and very nice. So there's that. And then as far as other art forms I'm keen on trying, I really want to try gouache. I would love to do like gouache painting. The thing is that gouache is like so expensive. Great thing about embroidery is that it's actually a pretty like inexpensive hobby. Like depending on the thread that you get, it's like 50 cents a spool. And then, you know, embroidery hoops are like $1.50. And then, you know, you can use just like any old cotton fabric. So it's a pretty like, it's a pretty cheap hobby to like start on if you just want the basics. And then of course, you know, it gets more expensive as you get more supplies. But yeah, gouache is like so expensive. But I featured this artist in my most recent Plan With Me, Carrie Shryock. She does these little like gouache landscape studies. And her colors are so beautiful. And I love the fact that gouache dries matte, whereas acrylics, you know, have a slight sheen to them. I love that gouache dries matte and it's so opaque. And so it lends, like, it definitely, that's why I love Copics, you know, because the color is so opaque and rich. And so gouache gives you that, but with like, you know, the texture of paint, because it is paint. So I would love to try gouache. But again, it's so expensive. I would also love to try, I've been seeing, you know, Posca paint markers all over the place. I would love to get into those, though they frighten me, but I would love to get into those. I have a couple. I just have no idea how to use them. Yeah, those are kind of the main two that I'm like on right now. So, and then, what was the last one? Let me see. Ooh, excuse me, pardon me, baby burp. How do you give yourself that push to make a bold move or go after something you want? Fun fact, I don't do that a lot. I think that, well, I guess the bold move was what I did. Well, actually, that's false. I moved halfway across the country last year and I opened my own business last fall. So, I guess I do make bold moves. I need to give myself some credit. I think that, the main thing is I'm just kind of like, why not? Because if it doesn't go well, you can just always find like an alternative route. Like, I knew that if I moved to Seattle and within 6 months I was like just completely miserable and I like did not want to be here anymore, I could always move back to Texas. If my business ended up not working out, like, I knew that obviously I would be crushed, but I would just figure out, you know, another way to go about things. Another way to approach the situation. I was actually listening to an episode of Brooke Castillo's podcast recently, where she talks about being discomfort on purpose. Because the thing is that the only way for you to grow in the way that you ideally probably want to grow, the only way for you to become a better person or more successful or whatever, is to be uncomfortable, is to live through discomfort. So live through feelings of fear or things that you don't want to do, or just things that feel gross and terrifying and awful. In order for you to grow, you have to go through those. So I think for me, as far as something bold, I think it's a sense of why. Mostly it's just a big sense of why the hell not? The world's ending anyway. Not in an immediate sense, but we're all gonna die one day. And I'm young, I'm in my 20s. Now's the time to do that sort of shit, I think. Though I don't think it's ever too late. I think that life is fleeting. The worst that could happen is that you fail. When you fail, you learn, and then you move forward from there. So, carpe diem, excelsior, all that stuff. I think for me, because I'm constantly on the quest to becoming, a better person, constantly on the quest to developing the self, and so I'm just always I want to get towards that. And so if I have to make a bold, scary, weird decision in the process, I know that ultimately it's going to get me closer to my end goal. It's going to get me closer to finishing the mural, the masterpiece of the mural that is my creative career. Because in one of the most recent episodes of the Creative Pep Talk, the host said, so people say life is a marathon, not a sprint. Your creative career is a mural, not a postcard. So you don't need to get caught up in all the tiny, minute details, because you can spend forever perfecting a postcard, but the beautiful thing about a mural is that, one, you'll spend your whole lifetime working on it. Two, the mistakes you make and stuff just add to the beauty of the piece, add to the authenticity and to the effect of the whole thing. So you have so little to lose, I think. I mean, of course there are decisions luckily I haven't been faced with, I don't think really any of these. You know, there are decisions that you're forced to make where it's like, this could lose me, like, you know, very important friends or things like that. Those are risks that, like, most of the risks and bold things I've taken, I know that even if they were to go, like, horrifically wrong, mainly the only thing I'm losing is money. Money and time. But, like, as I said, you don't really, money will always come back to you. Time won't, but say love you. Yeah. Why the hell not? Just do it. If you're not like hurting yourself or other people, just do the thing. So, I think that's probably my advice. I know that's not like super sage or wise, but that's pretty much it. I just kind of, yeah. Because I know that also another great quote is, everything you want in life is on the other side of fear. I think that's it. I'm going to look it up specifically now because I can't remember what it is. Let me see. Everything you want in life, everything you want in life. Everything you want. George Adair. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And I believe that wholeheartedly. So, thank you, Michelle. I love you. I hope that helped. But that's all I have for you today. So, I'm gonna finish drinking this incredible tea. Oh no, I just spilled it on my leg. It's fine. I'm wearing black jeans, so we're good. I'm gonna finish drinking this amazing tea, clean my kitchen, clean my apartment, and pack orders today, I think. So, just watch Queer Eye and cry and pack orders. So, because that sounds good to me. By the way, I'm so excited for the new Steven Universe episodes. I can't stand it. Okay. Oh, I'm too excited now. Okay. I love you a lot. I'll talk to you soon. You're great and stuff, and I love you, and I'm sorry this video was a little bit delayed, but I appreciate your patience. You're amazing. And, I'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye.